Morning, children. Today we are in the science period. We are starting with a new chapter, that is nutrition in animals. Today is the first part of the same chapter. In the first chapter, children, you have studied that plants they prepare their own food by the process called photosynthesis, but animals they cannot. So plants they are classified as autotrophs and animals are classified as heterotrophs. Since animals get their food from the plants, either directly or indirectly eating the plants. Some animals they are eating both, that is plants as well as animals, so they are considered to be omnivores. Animals' nutrition includes the nutrients which are required by their body for, and they have different modes of intake of food and its utilization in their body. Children, as you know, the components of the food such as your carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, all these food that we take in are the complex substances. So these complex substances have to be broken down within our body because directly they cannot be utilized by our body. So they are broken down into simpler substances. The breaking down of these complex substances into simpler ones is said to be digestion. So, children, animal nutrition includes all the nutrients which are required by our body, and as I said, it is the mode of intake of food and its utilization within our body. In animals, basically, we have different steps of nutrition. There are 5 steps. First one is ingestion, second one digestion, third one absorption, fourth one assimilation, and the last one is egestion. So we will be studying about all these steps in one by one in this chapter. Ingestion is the process of intake of food. So various animals they have different organs for the ingestion of the food. Various animals eat different types of the food and hence they have different modes of feeding. Children, as you know, amoeba, which is a unicellular organism, so it gets its food from the water and it is a unicellular organism, so it has got finger like projections with the help of which it can capture its food with the help of pseudopodia. So now we will be talking about one by one about many of the organisms and their mode of feeding. So here I will just tell that animals eat different food. The manner of which the food is taken in is also different by these animals. As you know, the snail which feeds on the food like your leaves, flowers and cardboards and all, so their mode of eating is chewing. Ant, children, you find these ants roaming in your home. So these ants they eat all the food items, fruits and even vegetables, and their mode of feeding is scrapping. Eagles, which are seen flying high up in the air, they basically eat the flesh of the other animals and their mode of feeding is tearing. So here you children saw that 3 to 4 organisms that we have talked of all are having different type of the food habit and their way of eating, either their way of feeding is also different. Here comes the hummingbird. Hummingbird, the mode of feeding in the hummingbird is that of your sucking. So it sucks the nectar of the flower. Now comes the most important organism which is mostly found in our houses also, and we all want to get rid of them. That is your mosquitoes. Yes, children, mosquitoes, it sucks our blood. It even sucks the sap of the plant. Next comes the lice. They also suck the blood. So children, here you found that mode of feeding for these mosquitoes and lice is piercing or sucking. Either of the two they can go for. Butterflies, the beautiful butterflies seen flying in the air, sitting on one flower to the other flower. They suck the nectar, so that is their food that they have. But their mode of feeding is again sucking because they are sucking the nectar. Houseflies, now these organisms are also seen in the house. These organisms they feed on all the food items, especially the fruits, the vegetables, or any of the food item just is left open in the air, either that is left open in our home. And their mode of feeding is sponging. As I was just talking of a unicellular organism, which is your amoeba. So, children, they have finger like projections called the pseudopodium. And with the help of this pseudopodia, they are able to capture the food and they digest it. The entire process of feeding, either the entire process of digestion of how it takes place in amoeba, that we will be doing in the end of the chapter, that is the last part of the chapter. But here when we are talking of the different organisms and their mode of feeding, so we are talking of this amoeba also. Now children, as I said, we cannot digest the food that we take in directly. So that food has to be broken down into simple substances. So this breaking down of the complex substances into the simple ones is said to be digestion. Children, it takes place in our stomach, and here you see that there are many acids. Among them one is your gastric acid, and here it takes place. Here this is the chemical digestion of the protein that I am talking of. Apart from that, there are the mechanical digestions which are taking place with the help of the muscular contractions. So this is all taking place for breaking down of the food into simpler substances. So all these children we will be talking of in this chapter one by one. So as I said, there are 5 steps of digestion. One is ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. So we will be talking about them one by one in the chapter. So today children, we talked of different ways of the taking in of the food by the different animals. So you just write it down now. What is the mode of taking in of the food of mosquitoes, butterflies, hummingbirds? Now here comes your snail, then comes your deer, cat, squirrels, and your frog. So these are some of the organisms which you will be writing about their mode of feeding in your assignment sheet. Children, here is a ladybug and your butterfly, and these are the cranes. So children, I will tell you one more thing about these cranes. There are some animals like the whales, ducks, and flamingos. They are found in water. So they strain their food from the water, and such type of animals are said to be your filter feeders. So among them comes your cranes also. Children, here comes your starfish. I hope you all are very, it looks as if it is very beautiful. Yes, it is very beautiful. It feeds on the animal which have the hard shell of calcium carbonate. It is basically found in water. After opening the shell, it pops out its stomach through its mouth and eats the soft animal inside the shell. The stomach goes inside the body and the food is slowly digested. So this is the mode of taking in of the food by the help of your starfish. Either the starfish, they take in the food in this way. So children, here you saw how different animals, they are taking food in different ways. Here is a chart which is given in your test book. Okay, here the different animals are there and their kind of food and their mode of feeding. So children, this you just copy it down in your assignment sheets, either your assignment notebooks. I hope so you have understood. So from tomorrow we will be starting with the process of digestion in human beings. And as you know, this is the elementary canal that I am showing you, either the elementary system. So here you can see how the human digestive system is divided up into how many organs are there and how they work. That we will be studying of in our next class. Hope so you have understood. And for today we just talked about the nutrition, steps of nutrition, and the different ways of feeding in different animals. Bye bye. Thank you. Sairam.